All right, guys. Good evening. I'm a couple of minutes late. Looks like it. About 9 minutes late, but that is okay. I'm still here. I'm still on. My voice is a little shaky. I got some dental work done yesterday. The right side of my mouth is a little sore, but I am here. Put your listening ears in order. And this is what your teachers used to say back in the day. I need you to have your listening ears in order. Tonight's a very special edition. I'm calling it number one because my husband gave me the subject matter. It was like really, it was a great subject matter that he gave me. And number two, I was mad when he gave it to me because he was like, the N word this and black women this and black women that, and it really offended me. But that's how society looks at us. I forgot the conversation that we were having, and I was like, well, wait a minute. Not all black women do that. Not all black women are feisty and neck rolling. All the way society has African American and black women stigmatized as right. We're not all that way. Hey, Miss Carla, but before we get into all the juiciness and the spilling the tea and all that other stuff, let's go ahead and do our midweek check-in. Oh, you'll know I hate that bright light. I'm gonna try to get in front of it. I don't know. I don't know. I hate that bright light over there. I'm gonna try to get in front of that light. Beat my shirt, y'all. Shout out to Bottom Boy Survivors who does all my t-shirts. If you want some t-shirts printed up, let me know. I'm gonna tag him in this live after this. He does all my t-shirts. I love him. He's on time about it. He has a gifted mind. There's something special about Bottom Boy Survivors. He's blind. Yeah, I said it. He's blind. My best friend David, he's blind, but he still prints and screens your t-shirts and they come out perfect. I even got what's in the back of it if you can see it. You try to turn around and not have my bottom of your face. Just bend down a little bit. No, don't move it back. Please, guys. Thumbs up. Phone. Put it back. So there you go. Nah, girl got knocked down by my big boots. Uh, that's my shirt. My name means something. If you was at my mom's service, or if you know me in that capacity, I hate when it says slow connection over there. It gets to me. It gets to me. I'm moving you around Facebook. I have my YouTube on my left side, Facebook you're in the middle, and I got my IG on my right. So let's get into this breakout fast thing real quick. If you can let me know how you're doing, just check in with me, your midweek check-in. If you're doing great, put up that red emoji heart. If you're doing okay, as I was doing today, put up the blue emoji heart. If you're feeling kind of put up that yellow emoji heart. If things are tough and you're struggling, put up the green emoji heart. If you're having a hard time and wouldn't mind if someone was to reach out to you, put up the purple emoji heart. If you're in a really dark place, put up the broken emoji heart. If you're having some harmony and balance in your life, put up that pink emoji heart. If you're feeling optimistic and uplifting, please put up the orange emoji heart. If you're feeling kind of crappy, put up that brown emoji heart with the crappy brown emoji symbol for food. If you're having mixed emotions, blankness, innocence, and some minimalism in your life, put up the white emoji heart. If you're feeling cool and self-restraint, put up the gray emoji heart. If you're feeling relaxed and friendly as Miss Carla is doing, put up that light blue emoji heart. If you're having some sadness and anger going on right now, put up the black emoji heart. I do want to pinpoint out that I had some people on Facebook that put up that they were struggling. Some put up that they were having a hard time and they wanted somebody to reach out. I reached out via inbox through Messenger and I never got any responses. People, please check your inboxes frequently. The next time that I'll reach out, it's going to be with the professional phone number for you to call. Um, If you guys do not know, social media, not only does it have community rules from when you're bullying somebody or somebody's reporting some inappropriate things that's being posted on social media, they do have webware where they report if you're posting something as like suicidal or homicidal on social media on all platforms. So I'll be posting the next time if I see something. If you're having a hard time and you wouldn't mind if somebody reached out to you, if you're in a dark place, and I reach out to you via a messenger and you don't respond back, the next thing I'm going to do is put a professional number in there for you to call. 988 is a universal number. It's worldwide. You can call from state to state. If you have a 267 or 484, sometimes a 610 number, it'll 988 is Philadelphia. It'll hit you up in Philadelphia. Sometimes Montgomery County, Bucks, Chester, all those calls sometimes funnel through Philadelphia, but we can still get you the help that you need for you to talk to a crisis counselor on the spot. 988 is always 24 hours. You can call at any time. On the holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you can always call. Okay. So again, if you're reaching out to me via Messenger, sometimes people don't feel comfortable enough reaching out to me in the chat, and that's okay. But if you reach out to me in Messenger and you don't respond within 2 to 3 days, the next time that I'll be reaching out to you, if that fourth day, is I'm going to be putting a professional number in the chat box. Hey, Glow, I'm going to put a professional number in the chat box. Don't mind my voice. Got a tooth pulled. Trying to be strong here. My husband's been helping me out. He's been doing a wonderful job. The only thing he has not done that I have not asked him to do, that the doctor has said he needs to do, is to rub my feet. And he's not doing that. My feet don't hurt. He don't need to do that. We're not going to take him to that level yet. So tonight we're talking about the disparities of African American or Black women and how it impacts our mental health. And this is a special edition. And I think Alita as well, because Alita had hit me up in my Instagram box and she had posted something like, us Black women need to get on the ball because if Kamala now is running for president and she's a Black African American female, all this stuff is going to start pouring down on us. And I was talking to my husband, I believe, last week about it. And he was like, well, I was on my lunch break. He was like, well, that's going to happen. And, you know, these angry Black ghetto women. I was like, well, wait a minute. All women are not angry and we're all not ghetto. And, you know, there's some of us that's out there that's educated. And so I was like, I need a topic. And he was like, you got one right there. And so this is the catalyst that's kicking everything off. And I'm not just talking about for Kamala. This thing has been going on for years and centuries. About the image of a Black woman, what should be, what should ain't, what could ain't, and what would not be. Through the music, through secular music, through Christianity, through worship music, everything about a Black woman that people have that image of us. And even of our own kind, and how we have this image of us, what's good, what's not good. And it's just flustering out into the things of the world, of society. And it's still going on today. So disparity, as I looked up, I'm going to look something up, right? A difference in the level of treatment, especially one that is seen as unfair. Racial disparities, you have rich or poor. So the social economic disparities, your income, you have men against women. So we have the sexist disparity. The research from American Psychiatric Association on mental health disparities, they had in here for Muslim Americans found that 95% of imams speak with individuals about topics outside of the religious concept, including family and relationships. So, and issues with mood and anxiety, right? So even Muslims, Islamic people are having a lot of disparities about their religion. And so their imams are talking about, they're not even talking about their religious beliefs. They're just talking about maybe the clothes, all the myths about Islamic men, about Islamic women there before they even getting into the cusp of what Islam is about. So just imagine when 9/11 happened, how the Islamic people looked from everywhere, not just in Philadelphia, because the Philadelphia, they have said, is the largest Islamic city, the largest Islamic city. You have so many Islamic communities. So just imagine how that looks back in 9/11, right? You they were beating people up, even with, let's just say, with COVID, with the ex vice president. Where did he say COVID came from? The Asians. And for a while, the Asians was getting picked on, right? They had some disparities. Don't eat from them, don't take from them, don't breathe their air. But the disparities with just with African American females has been going on since slavery. Since slavery. So if we're going to talk about Kamala, let's learn some things about Kamala, right? She was born in Oakland, California on October 20th, 1964. Her mother is from India and her father is from Jamaica. So her parents, both of her parents are immigrants. They were not born in the United States. However, Kamala was. Now, this was something that they were talking about even prior to her even being a Democratic nominee elect for president. They were talking about this way before. You know, she's not from here. And remember, they brought this up at President Obama's presidency when he was running. You know, he's not a real American. They brought this up, but she's an American. She was born October 20th, 1964, in the so-called United States of America. Her parents moved here. Her mother moved here to become a scientist, and her father came here. Don't let me get it wrong. Don't let me get it wrong. I think he was into numbers or something like that, but he's Jamaican. They also said something about her getting the vice president job because of DEI. If you don't know what DEI is, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. She was hired because she was a Black woman. So they wanted to fill that spot with an ethnic person. So if you don't know, when you go to a job and they'll say, oh, we hired that Asian person because we had to fit that Asian spot. Not because they were a good worker and they had the benefit, they had the qualities to work. We just had to hire somebody in that racial bracket. Okay. Let's read some. I'm going to read some of the stuff that Kamala has been doing while she has been in politics, right? She became the Attorney General from 2010 to 2014 in California. She was active in the civil rights movement. She graduated from Howard University and the University of California. She went to Hastings College of Law, and she married her husband in 2014. She was in the U.S. Senate from 2017 to 2021. Now, you guys got to remember, she was also a headliner in 2019 to run for vice president. If nobody remembered that, she was in the line. Her and Bernie was in line to run for president in 2019. She dropped out of the race early. She dropped out very early. Now, I got this information from the whitehouse.gov. She led the fight for the freedom of women to make decisions about their own bodies. That's one of the things that she's running her campaign on now. You know, the freedom for women to make decisions, the Roe versus Wade thing. The freedom to live safe from gun violence. She's also doing it now. Me and my husband was having a conversation prior to this coming on. He was saying that she was one of the people when she was in the Senate that made the law to not let young men go when they were in prison. And I said, well, she didn't make the bill. You know, they wanted her to take the bill lower. I said, the judge, the one made the bill. They was coming to her saying, lower the bill. So don't put the law on her to say, well, now Kamala lowered the bill. The judge made the rule to get bail. Now we want you, because you're the senator and you're a black woman, a person of color, to now rule to lower the bail. Let her be the scapegoat, as you would say. She voted for freedom to vote, freedom to have um, um, drink clean water, breathe clean air. She traveled to more than 19 countries, meeting with more than 150 world leaders to strengthen critical global alliances. Now, I remember when Biden and her won the presidency. And we saw all her soror girls out there. Everybody was so proud that this African American female was up there. She was top notch. Hey, Sister Nadia, how you doing? She was top notch. Everybody was so proud of her. And I said to myself, I haven't seen her in 2 years. What was she doing? Right? Where was she at? One of the disparities is women always take a back seat to a man. We always take a back seat to a man. Right? That's how it's always been. The man is the head of the household. But we women know we make the decisions, don't we? When it comes down to something heavy in the house, the husband's coming to us to make that decision. He may have the final say, but the husband is coming to you for that heavy decision. If that two became one, your husband better be coming to you to make the final decision. He better be seeking your counsel. In chess, I'm trying to learn chess because my husband loves playing chess. In chess, the most protected piece on the chessboard is the queen. Let me tell you about the disparities of health for Black women. Black women are more likely to die from many diseases. Remember, we talked about this a long time ago, how they think that Black women or women of color can take pain, that our pain is not as high or as high as we would like it, that they would like it to be, that we endure more pain than anyone, right? We're more likely to die from many diseases like cardiovascular disease, hypertension, strokes, lupus, several cancers, pregnancy-related diseases, complications, cardiomyopathy. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Cardiomyopathy, severe disabilities from childbirth, diabetes, experiences of worsening menopause. Now, I can speak on these menopause symptoms personally. I started experiencing menopause maybe at 43. I'm 45 now, about to be 46. And when I was going to my doctor and telling her about him, she's a Black woman, and telling her about him, she was like, Kimble, you can't be going through menopause like this because you're so young. And I was like, I know I'm young, but there's been studies, I'm a nerd, there's been studies that women, the studies was on white women, go through menopause at age 25. So I need you to look into this. If it's not my thyroids, if I'm not having any other issues, I let her know that I had my lady parts taken out in 2015. So something has to be going on with my body that is speeding up so fast. She was pushing the envelope and I was pushing the envelope. But when you go and do the lab work and they're looking in your chart and they're saying a 43-year-old African American woman, this can't be. This can't be. We have higher medical debt, longer travel times to hospitals, and lack of health insurance. I can say longer travel time to hospitals Because if I go to Temple, Temple's not going to treat me if I go to Abington Hospital or Roxborough Hospital. Temple's in North Philly. Abington is all the way out in Jenkintown. Roxborough Hospital was in Manioc. Different treatments. Different treatments. There's income and wealth. Black women face the greatest income and wealth disparity relative to most of any other group. More likely to live in poverty, work in low wage jobs. Those low wage jobs is in the healthcare system. You see more CNAs, African women, Black women, CNAs. You see more people of color working as housekeepers, dietitians, dietary aides in the nursing homes. You see more women of color working in hotels as the people that cleans those rooms for other people. Even on TV, you see many African women working in those type of roles, maids, mammies, sitters. Black women account for 1 in 7 women in the United States, despite making significant advances. We have made so many advances and contributions to U.S. society. Black women continue to face high levels of unfair treatment and systematic discrimination, making up disproportionate shares of people. We get poorer services than others at stores and restaurants. 22% refuse to give us pain medication. That's anywhere for treatment. Anywhere for treatment. I'm so happy that my dentist that I've been going to since I was a child, he knows that I don't like to be treated by anyone else. So when he was saying, Kimble, I had an extra tooth in my mouth. Don't know how that happened, but I had an extra tooth in my mouth. And he was like, you need to get this tooth out because if you keep eating food, it's going to get stuck in there. And I was having a problem with getting it out with flossing. He said, if it gets stuck in there, it's going to decay both of the tooth and you're going to lose both of the teeth. And I said, Dr. Patel, I don't bang with nobody but you. I'll go to him every 6 months, get my teeth clean, get them scalped, all that. And he said, I got you. He said, I'm going to send you to a friend of mine. Dr. Patel is Indian. I looked at the paper. When I went down there yesterday to see her, she was very thorough. She sent me all the paperwork through electronically, and I filled everything out. Everything went lovely. And when I went to see her, she was Indian as well. But this lady was so kind. Her staff was so kind. She couldn't believe the work that I did. I couldn't believe the work that she did. But I got a call around 7:30 last night. And I was like, I wonder who's trying to call my phone, especially with my mouth being packed with the gauze. I really couldn't talk. And so I was bold enough to pick it up. And I picked the phone up. And who was on the other end of that call? The doctor who did the surgery on my mouth. I'm like, oh, doctor, why are you calling? Like, it's past. And she was like, no, I always check up on my patients just to make sure they're okay. I said, well, I have little pain. I'm taking the medication as you're prescribing it to me. And she asked me to look in my bag to see if I had a syringe. Because next week I'm going to have to start squirting the syringe in that spot to make sure no food gets stuck in there. I'm like, I don't know. It's not in here. So she says, tell your husband to come down tomorrow and pick it up. And I said, I need a sick note for work because she know what I do. And she don't clear me for work until Friday. I'm like, babe, I wanted to go back to work today. He said you can't because the muscles in your jaw are going up and down and you need not move them that much. And he told her what I did. So she thought this took precedence over this. So she signed me out for 2 days, and I don't go back to work until Monday. Pretty important person. But that just shows you how sometimes you get connection with your own. And I know that's what I got into this field for. So African American people can help their people out. But sometimes we don't do that. We don't do that. 61% of Black women say that they are very careful about their appearances or prepare for possible insults when seeking employment, referrals, promotions. 61 of Black women are very careful about their appearances. I'm going to go with Simone Biles. When she was 18, she came out, she was smashing. She was smashing the Olympics. This little teeny little thing, she was 18. She wasn't grown, she was 18. And how so many Black women dipped on her about her hair. Why she ain't got a perm and why she got a hair like that, and not knowing she was kicking butt in the Olympics. And she's still kicking butt. She's she's about to be in the Paris Olympics now. She dropped out of the Tokyo Olympics, and everybody's like, why is she dropping out of the Tokyo Olympics? She's a quitter. But when Simone Biles was in at 18, was busting it up with the Olympics, all they kept thinking about was her hair, her hair, her hair. If it ain't straight, it ain't right. My hair ain't straight. And I purposely wore like this today because I'm not trying to brush nothing. Nothing. We do have life stressors as African American women. Exposure to trauma and violence, racial discrimination can increase the risk of depression and psychological stress. Women and people of color, immigrants. So not only do we have to think about just us being women or people of color, we have women that's immigrants. We have individuals that are in the LGBTQIA 2S plus. We have women with disabilities, veterans that have stigma. We have religious minorities that face attacks. And all these sometimes really is coming from the Democratic Party. When it's time for election year, we know things get nasty. It gets nasty when it's election year. They're already digging stuff up now. If you pay attention to the commercials, when Joe Biden was still running, all the things was put in at Joe Biden. He did this. Joe Biden stopped him from building the wall. Joe Biden let all these people in from Mexico. Joe Biden did this. Now, if you see the commercials, everything is being taken off of Joe Biden, and now it's put on her. Remember, because she was always behind him. The woman was in the background, right? She's the vice president. So they're trying to say Joe Biden was there, but Kamala was really running the country. African American or Black women are often conditioned to be strong and resilient, which can lead to stigma around mental health care. Many families prefer to keep their problems private, even from their therapists, and may not seek professional counseling at all. And that's just something from saying, back in the day, where we always say what happens in this house stays in this house. And I can say that probably stems all the way back to when women didn't have privacy. When women were slaves, there was no privacy. Even if you had a husband and you was a slave, there was no privacy. There was none. Everybody slept in the whole one room or one house. There was no privacy at all. Everybody knew everything. And so they kept it that way while they were growing up. I was asking my husband to describe the angry Black woman. What are the stereotypes of that? If y'all can help me out with some of that, because I got some things down here listed. The stereotypes of an angry Black woman. You know, Tyler Perry had a movie out. Um, about the angry Black woman. So angry Black women, the stereotype is they're hostile, aggressive, we are overbearing, we're illogical, ill-tempered, and we're bitter. Ooh, that's a lot. That just got me. That just I just went silent on that. The stereotype of angry Black woman: we're hostile, aggressive, overbearing, illogical, ill-tempered, and bitter. And y'all probably slam me for this, but that sounds like a baby mother to me. Slam me. Go ahead, Sammy. I said it. I said it. I said it. Black women make up 7% of the workforce, underrepresented in leadership positions. So Kamala, she made up the workforce, but she's underrepresented in her position. But she's playing it. She's playing the position correctly. And I said to my husband, and I didn't come on, but I posted something about the 2025, the Project 2025. I didn't want to go on and rip and run about this Project 2025. I really talk about politics on lives. I really talk about my religious beliefs on lives. But I told my husband, I said, the real reason, I had this conversation with some people, the reason why they was asking for Joe Biden to step down is if he won the election. If Joe Biden would have stepped down, and if he won the election, and if he would have got sick or was not able to perform, the next person up is Kamala. She's the vice president. So if he was not able to perform, if he got sick and he was not clearly able to perform his duties, Kamala would have stepped in as the vice president. As we all know, it happens anyway. It would have happened anyway, regardless. And just for a secret for everybody, and my logical or illogical thoughts, I think Biden knew that. As I told my husband tonight, I really think Biden knew that. He held out this long. It is August. We vote in November. The Democrat convention is next week. I think it's next week. We are too far along in this thing for Biden to say, I'm just gonna step back. And if we have somebody, if I step back, who's going to step forward? Who do we have that's going to step forward? So it's a lady, her name is Deborah Gray White. She from Rutgers University. She wrote a book noting that Black women images is deeply rooted and dates back to chattel slavery times. So films, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not finished. Don't do that. Something happened to my Instagram still on, you still on, but something's happening to my Facebook. I'm still here, y'all. I'm not gonna hit that finish button. That's weird. It did. Slow connection. Mm-hmm. That's weird. You know what that's all about. I do. I'm not gonna hit that finish button though. So as I was saying, if you can think of movies, any films, or any TV shows that have these stereotypes for African American or Black women on there. The Diary of a Mad Black Woman, that was from Tyler Perry. A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Um, some stereotypes. Friday, how they stereotype women in Friday. Boys in the Hood, how they stereotype the women and boys in the hood. Television shows, The Jeffersons, Martin, and these live sitcoms like Nene Leakes. I was reading about Nene Leakes. The angry black woman is an image that feels familiar in pop culture and in organizational life. Nene Leakes has gotten everybody to be throwing drinks in their faces, but she looks fabulous. She know how to get her money. She know how to get her man. And she know how to set people straight. And it's gotten in the minds of all the young women coming up. We're gonna go out and we're gonna settle this. We're gonna squash this, but I'm gonna throw my drink in your face and I'm gonna act the fool while I look gorgeous. And Nene's in her 50s, so she should know better. Another stereotype is in the music. We had our men singing love music to us at one time before. Black Butterfly, we were queens. They wanted to love us. Look at Lenny Williams, how the song that he sung. He loved us. Oh, 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 oh. Lenny loved women. He loved his women. Marvin Gaye, they loved their women. And they start coming out with slang, calling us all sorts of smuts and what was the name with the pit bull? Whatever the name, the song, I can't get it. I know it was so popular for a minute, and so I found out that they were talking about a female dog. Um, NWA trashing women. Jay-Z was trashing women when he first came out. Um, who else was trashing them? A lot. Females start trashing themselves. Queen Latifah tried to pull it back in. Unity. NDRE tried to pull it back in. What's the girl name from The Fugitives? Lauren Hill tried to pull it back in. Now, this is what got me because anger is a common expressed emotion. Society has attributed to the anger with black women's personalities rather than an inciting situation. So we can't get angry. A black woman can't get angry. A woman of color can't get angry and say that's an emotion because they say that's a part of our personality. Even at work, if you go to your supervisor and say, listen, I need to talk about something. This has been on my mind for a while. I think I'm being mistreated. I want to come to you first and see could you absolve it. You're not angry. You're not frustrated. You're talking to your boss, proper terms. And then once you leave, it comes back that everything's switched up. And you're like, well, wait a minute. That's not what I said. That's not how I came off. How did this get misconstrued? And you might peak your tone up just a little bit. Your tone might get peaked up. Wait a minute. Well, hold on. And I want you to understand some things when I say Black women got we got pushed and played in the background. We've always been played in the background, and it's even by our own Black men sometimes. Black men was able to vote due to the 15th Amendment. Then after the passage of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote, white women, the 15th Amendment allowed Black men to vote. The 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote, but white women. African American women started to build activist clubs to uplift Black women, protection of color. Oh, it was a club called Protection of Colored Women, the National Council of Negro Women in the 20th century, Women's Political Council, the National Black Feminist Organization, African American Women for Reproductive Freedom. So we were still being left out. And I was telling my husband, even with the civil rights movement, women had certain and particular jobs, receptionists, calling in, making sure the schedule was correctly. But we marched with them. We had our heels on, we was marching with the men. Let's look at the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement was actually started by a Black woman. Sugar, you watching me on there? You watching me on there? I'm going back and forth. Can you Google who that Black woman was from that started the Me Too movement? I forgot to Google her. If this was the Me Too movement was started by a Black woman. I think Alyssa Milano and a couple of other high-ranking stars start running and chasing after that thing, and they just grabbed a hold of it and pushed her out. Hmm. She got locks in her hair, big nose. What's her name? Tina Tarana Burke. Okay, Tarana Burke. Yes, that's her. Tarana Burke actually started the Me Too movement. African American female. Not Alyssa Milano, not any other white person. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, Alita. So they looked at black women as being promiscuous. Again, looking at her as a maid or the caretaker. Less likely to reach out for help. We were, and we still are. That's one of my flaws, I would say. Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. You can always play this back. That's one of my flaws. We're less likely, black women are less likely to reach out for help. Sometimes we say we just gonna pray that thing away. We'll get a little prayer circle going, and whatever's disturbing you, whatever the disparity, we'll pray it away. Let's just be a better wife, right? Whatever's going on in the home, let's just be a better wife. Black women do not identify with the term victim because of lack of knowledge, fear, or weakness as being independent. When I was younger and I was going through whatever I was going through, and that's what they kept saying to me as a child, I'm like, I'm not nobody's victim. I didn't allow this to happen to me. You don't see all these bite marks and bruises all over my body. I didn't allow this to happen to me. I'm not a victim of anything. I was fighting back. And we do see that as weakness. Because in our bloodline, or what we were taught is, from my grandmother, you have to be as independent as possible. You don't let anybody take advantage of you. Women, we know, if we go to the supermarket and it's 10 bags, we got 5 in his hand and we got 5 in his hand. We struggling with them bags, but we getting them in the house. And by the time we get all 10 of the bags in the house, we fussing and mussing. Ain't nobody help me with these bags. Y'all know I was going to the supermarket, but we got all them bags in the house. We're taught to be independent. You know why we're taught to be independent? Again, it goes all the way back to slavery. Our men were shipped off. Our men was taken away from us. Even if we birthed a boy, even if we had a son, once that son became of legal age, they took him from us as well. So we had to till the earth. We had to make sure we had crops. We had to make sure we had food. We had to make sure we had the protection from the white man not raping us. We had to be independent. And then when we got out of slavery, we had to make sure we was independent against our own men not raping us and taking advantage of us. Come on, sisters, we got to tell it. We had to protect ourselves. And sometimes we don't know how to pull that thing back in. Ooh, let's talk about the police. Just as men get pulled over by police, women also get pulled over by police. We had a woman that got pulled over by the police. She was very famous for getting pulled over by the police. And when she went into the police station, she didn't come out alive. She didn't come out alive. Police are nasty with women as well. Fearful. We just seen it. I just heard about Sonia Massey. I believe it was 3 or 4 days ago, or 3 days ago. This young woman was in her home. She called the police. She thought it was someone in her home. She called the police. The police got there. She's talking to the police outside of her home. 2 police officers outside of her home. They checked the outside of her home. Now they're asking her to come inside of her home. They go inside of her home. I guess she's folding up clothes or something. She's doing some type of cleaning to her home. She's sitting down, and the officer asks her to turn the water off, the pot of water off that's on the stove because it's boiling. And he says something sarcastic like, yeah, because we don't want to be burnt up in a fire or something like that, he says. And as Miss Sonia goes towards the stove to turn the pot of water off, I'm not clear if they take it as her moving forward to either put the pot in the sink. I don't know. It's not clear on the video to me. If she's turning to put the pot in the sink, if she's making that move, I don't know. All I know is Miss Massey is not alive today. This woman was 36 years old. She called on the phone for help because she thought someone was in her home or outside of her home, breaking into her home. She called for safety. And this woman is not alive today. The same thing with Breonna Taylor. There's several other women that have been harmed by the police. And again, I was on my prayer line this morning with my pastors with Revival Christian Church. I have several police officers that are family to me. The only thing blue on them is the uniform that they wear. So do not get me wrong that I'm saying go out and protest against police. The only blue thing on them is the uniform that they wear. I understand both sides. When I work in police radio, I can hear the calls that the call takers are taking. And I've been through this before. They ask you, Is there any weapons in the home? Is the person white, black, Hispanic, Asian, or Chinese? They ask you all those questions. African American. Does anybody have a firearm? Now, we do have some black on black hate. There's some black on black hate. Fraternities and sororities only allowing members with the skin color lighter than a paper bag, a brown paper bag, to gain admissions into their bonds, and proof of that the color lines and boundaries were strong and present is in the Alpha Phi Alpha at Cornell West. This was done in 1906. I don't know if they still do it now. Some churches did it as well. Black women having to sacrifice, either put your blackness to the side or your womanhood to the side. Put your blackness to the side or put your womanhood to the side. The hair. We've been dealing with this hair thing for a very long time. If you had kinky or nappy hair, if your hair was long and curly, you was mixed, you wasn't all the way black. Sometimes if your hair was long, it ain't even your hair. It ain't her hair. She can't possibly have long hair. She thinks she got Indian in her family. Our body, our big hips, our big breasts, our lips, our butts. It's funny to me how they saying that these people are going to go get Brazilian butt lifts. Jennifer Lopez, if you out there tell them that you ain't got no Brazilian butt lift, honey, you reeking 100%. Your lips, mine is way wide. They big. They are. Matter of fact, they used to call me soup coolers in school. I got teased a lot, yo, in school. I got teased a lot in school. I got teased a lot in school. Big forehead, big lips, pork chop knees. But the big hips, the breasts, the lips, the butts. 2024, who's going to go get all that stuff done to have nice wide hips, wide lips, breasts, and butt? In the 80s and 90s, we wasn't even loving ourselves that much, because remember, that's when the music was turning on the women. It was turning to hate. Our eyes, they want to be light brown, hazel, or blue. You see a person with some hazel or blue eyes, oh, they ain't black, they eye contacts. They ain't their eyes. They ain't real. If you shake a tree, something else gonna fall out that tree. Not just black. Shake it. Something gonna fall out of it. I had some Caucasian in my family. Shake the tree. Something gonna fall out of it. Our education. People don't think we got only can go to a high school education. If that, we only welfare and GED material. If that. When they came out with the Ebonics dictionary, I was like, why, God? Why? Everybody was so hyped for that. Why? My grandson and my nephew, as they say, speak proper English. They speak proper English. That don't mean they white. If you have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or a PhD, and believe me, they don't come a dime a dozen. They don't come a dime a dozen anymore. So if you have a master's degree, that's just like having a bachelor's, because everybody can go to school now and everybody can have, student loans all over the place. Because now we're learning. They didn't teach us back then that we were college material. We're learning. And they still have some people, some African American people that say, hey, we need help filling out job applications. We need help writing resumes. No, we don't. No, we don't. If you're a single parent, they would say that you're on Section 8 and on welfare and you got a lot of kids. That you were ghetto. But if you had a husband, you got a good job, you're a homeowner, you probably got 2 kids and a dog. And that's a lie too. You see the scenarios and the stigmas? Black women either go unnoticed or noticed. We are found to be intimidating at times, acting like you are not smart enough. People have been saying, I haven't seen Kamala in 2 years, remember? Black women are often in the background. Gender silenced, they call this. Men leaders marginalize women in their workplaces and they put them in the shadows. Afeni Shakur, she was an American political activist and she was a member of the Black Panthers. That was my girl. That's Tupac Shakur's mother. Afeni Shakur. 5.4% of the Center for American Women in Politics are voting members of Congress identify as Black. Let's talk about Shirley Chisholm. She was the first Black woman that ran for president in 1972. Her parents was immigrants. Do not let the media tell you or sway you about yourself. I made this about Kamala tonight, but this is about Black women or a woman of color. Do not let the media sway you about yourself. How can America fix this, or how can your job, because they're doing DEI inclusive trainings now. I've taken a lot of those DEI inclusive trainings just to make sure everybody is culturally sound and know about things in different cultures, economically, religiously, just so everybody can understand what we have in a melting. They used to call it a melting pot. Philadelphia used to be called a melting pot, or the world used to be, United States used to be called the melting pot. Now it's called a mixing bowl. I like to call it gumbo. Gumbo tastes good depending on what you put in there. So what does the world or society need to understand? Acknowledge that the problem still exists. Give women the space and allow them to lead. If you want me to stand side by side you, I will stand side by side you. Not always so listen to my husband. I'm gonna allow you to lead, be the captain of the ship. I will allow you to be the captain of the ship. But when something get rocky, I gotta stand beside you so we both can steer the ship. I'm not gonna stand in back of you and scream out southwest east of the to the plank. I'm not gonna do that. I need to stand beside you. Because if I'm standing in back of you, you may not be able to hear me. You might not even want to hear me because you're trying to fix the problem. I need to stand beside you. And if I stand beside you and it's getting rough, you might as well relinquish the boat and let me steer it. So the first thing society has to do is to acknowledge that a problem exists with these disparities of African American women. I put down here be empathetic. That comes and goes. It comes and goes. Be intentional. Get to know the person. Asking people how was their day, how are you doing? If you don't know that much about the culture, the religion, asking is best. That's how I got to know a little bit about the Haitian culture, the food, my African people, the Liberians, all those cultures that I worked with. I asked lots of questions because I'm a nerd, but I ask lots of questions. And I want to know. I like to eat, so I want to know what that is and what is it good for. Give me some of that over there. I will try food. One thing I will try it for the first time, and if I don't like it, I won't try it again. Acknowledge that a problem exists. Be empathetic. Be intentional. Get to know people and ask questions. This is not to sway anybody about their political views, how you're going to vote, and who you're going to vote for. Like I told my husband, there's a lot of people saying that they're not going to vote. That's the wrong move to make. Your vote will be helping your children, your grandchildren, and their grandchildren. I already mentioned it. So I'm going to say, do some research on Project 2025. Do some research on it. If you do not like politics, today and now will be a time to understand and learn some things about politics. Social studies was one of my topics in school. But I will say this. If I'm going to choose a color, I'm going to choose black before I choose orange. My name is Kimble Evans. I am your trap therapist. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next Wednesday. Be safe.